Hello, everyone. It's Devin from Week to Warrior, and I just wanted to go live today quickly and share with you. Okay, just did a thing. I think we know we're still good. We're still live. Awesome. So I just wanted to share with you some thoughts I've been having about business. And the title of this talk is Why You Should Be Your Number One Business Priority. And this is different than the way most people think about business. Most people think that if they're going to succeed in business, that they have to bust their ass constantly. They have to get the hustle mentality going. They have to like study all this stuff about business. And it's very frantic. It's very much this frantic state of I gotta do this. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. It's never enough. It's never enough. And you may be experiencing this yourself too. You may be thinking, yeah, I do all this work in my business and I read all these books about business and I study my business and I do my market research and I work on my mentality. I meditate 20 minutes every morning and I take cold showers and I work on my mindset. I read like the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I've read Way the Superior Man. You've read all these books, Built to Last, Good to Great. You've done all this work. You've been investing in your mindset. And yet somehow it's not turning into the thing you want it to be. Your business is it's working. It's working. You're getting clients, you're making sales, you're making deals, you're making money, but it feels very frantic and you're always behind the eight ball. Like you're always just like struggling to make ends meet. You're always trying to get stuff together at the last minute. And if you're like a lot of people, you probably experience moments you get up in the morning, you don't even want to get out of bed. You're just exhausted. You're like, "Oh, another day of doing this all over again." And then you go to your laptop and you're kind of like, what am I even gonna do today? And you start going on Facebook and you're scrolling and then you're like, no, snap out of this, snap out of this. Okay, I'm gonna do something. I gotta get my ducks in a row, and then you start executing. It's this very stressful, heady thing. You feel like you need to just maybe you're drinking coffee to just get yourself through it, and you're like, shit, my mindset is fucked. Like I don't have the mentality for this. My stress tolerance is bad. How the hell does anyone do this? I got to put on a good face for social media, but I'm stressed and depressed inside, and it's not a good situation. And this is why you should be your number one priority in business. And I'm going to get into that in a moment. So, what I mean when I say that you should be your number one priority in business, I mean what Abraham Lincoln meant. I'm going to quote Abraham Lincoln because I love to quote great people from the past. So, Abraham Lincoln said once, and I may be paraphrasing this slightly, but he said, if you gave me 8 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend the first 6 hours sharpening my axe. And it's a strong statement. This great man, one of the greatest presidents of the United States of America, said that if you gave him 8 hours to complete a task, that he would spend the first 6 hours not even working on the task. He would spend those first 6 hours working on the implement with which he was going to complete that task. Now, I'm going to ask you a question you probably already know the answer to. What is the implement in your life that you use to chop down the tree that is business? It's you. You are your own implement. So, logically, if we're going to use the logic of this great man, Abraham Lincoln, you should spend the majority of your time sharpening this puppy. And you may have thought of this already and been like, yeah, one second. Uh, uh. You may have thought of this already, and you may think, Well, yeah, that's why I read all my books on mindset, and that's why I meditate, and that's why I do whatever it is that you happen to do that you think makes you better. And this brings us to the second issue that a lot of people have when they're trying to make themselves their number one priority in business, which they should be. That issue is that they're focusing on the wrong things. And or they're focusing on the right things the wrong way, but I'll explain all of this, so just hang in there with me. So, if you're focusing on mentality by reading books and meditating all this stuff, I think that that's great. But that's still not really sharpening the axe. You kind of are sharpening axe, but not really. You're not getting down to the nuts and bolts of it. So I'm going to perform a little thought experiment for you guys, and just follow along with this thought experiment. This will make it very clear what it is that I'm saying. So let's say you took someone who spent 10 years meditating. They were just some, I don't know, like a UFC champion, some star athlete, a world champion boxer, a world champion sprinter, someone who spent 10 years meditating, just someone who epitomizes championship mentality. You took this person. And then let's say that you injected them with, let's just say Montezuma's Revenge, that nasty amoeba that gives you the fucking shits and throwing up that you get from drinking the water in Mexico. Let's say you inject them with that. And they're puking their fucking brains out and they're shitting constantly and they're just fucked up like you would not believe. How effective is that person going to be at whatever it is they happen to be world class at? Not very effective. Okay, and I'm going to make another thought experiment. This is really going to hammer it home. So let's say you were to take another person, like another just world class performer, and you were to say, okay, you've got a world class mentality. You've done all the stuff you need to have a perfect, clear conception of what it is you need to do. You have world class skills. But here's the kicker: we're only going to allow you to eat bread for the next month. You can only eat bread, but we expect you to still perform at a world class level. Now, would this person be able to perform at a world class level? Fuck no, they wouldn't be. I mean, if you've ever experimented with your nutrition, you know that if you were to just eat bread for 5 days, your brain would not work. You would be achy. You'd be this shell of who you could be. And why is that? Well, what supports a mindset? Well, I mean, obviously you have to have reference experiences. You have to have confirmation in your own personal life that, yeah, you can actually do this. You have to have a proper understanding of your place in the whole game that we're playing. But aside from the know-how and the reference experiences, what really at the baseline, what am I getting at, underlies mindset? It's your biology. Like, if your biology boom, is fucked up, then how can your mindset be good? I mean, ultimately, like, in order to focus, your brain needs to produce norepinephrine, dopamine, acetylcholine, all these neurotransmitters to focus. Proper GABA glutamate balance, the whole nine yards. You need to be having proper neuronal firing. Your cells need to be, like, firing properly. I mean, at a basic level, your brain needs to be hydrated. I could have used that as an example. If you're incredibly dehydrated, how can you perform? You can't perform. And this is an interesting thing because there aren't that many people who realize the extent to which their mentality issues, their motivational issues, their energy issues, their ability to focus, their ability to maintain a good mood, that all of these things are contingent on diet. I mean, people understand, obviously, like, if I only eat bread, then I'll feel like shit. Or if I just eat Doritos and drink Mountain Dew, I'll feel like shit. Like, that's pretty intuitive for most people. But what people don't understand is that if you're eating seed oils, if you are eating an improper macronutrient ratio, if you are not taking proper supplements to address nutritional imbalances and lacks in your diet, If you're not doing all these things, if you're not eating foods in a way that your body can digest them to get the proper energy, if your metabolism is compromised, if you're dehydrated, if your electrolyte balance is off, all of these factors, these complicated and multifaceted factors that go into making you, making you the dynamic, vibrant, confident, energetic, powerful business person that you are, that starts with your body. It starts with right here. It starts with what's going on in here. And I know that in the West, especially, we like to have this mind body dichotomy. We like to separate the mind and body and think that they're fundamentally different things. But this is unwise and illogical because your brain is an organ in your body. Duh. Like, if your kidneys are getting fucked up by your poor diet, then that makes sense to most people. They're like, oh yeah, you're eating like way too much protein, you don't have enough fats and carbs, your electrolyte balance is off, you drink constantly. Of course your kidneys are fucked up. Duh. But if people don't supplement, they eat poorly, they are metabolically compromised, their electrolytes are compromised, they're ingesting these toxins from their diet, they have these toxins from their lifestyle, they're not engaging in the behaviors and habits that are necessary to facilitate vibrant health, then your brain's going to be compromised. Your brain is the most sensitive organ in your entire body. And, well, how is that? How can I prove that to you very quickly? Well, when you get tired at night, what's the first thing that gets tired? Your brain. No one ever is like, oh, I'm so tired, man. I just feel like my liver's just running down. It's always, hey, man, I'm so tired. I can't really think straight anymore. I'm so tired. I can't follow this conversation. I'm so tired. Something to do with the brain. Why? Well, the brain is intimately involved in this process of generating consciousness or receiving consciousness, whatever you happen to believe about consciousness and the mind and everything. I'm not interested in that. I am interested in that, but not for the sake of this conversation. For the sake of this conversation, let's just focus on the fact that generating your experience of reality, receiving your experience of reality, interpreting your experience of reality, applying the right thoughts and actions to whatever situation you happen to be in. All of these things are contingent on the brain. These are all very complicated processes. Like your liver doesn't really have that much shit to do on like a daily basis. Like let's say like maybe you change your diet up a bit. So now your liver has to do something slightly different, or you're not drinking enough water, so your liver's working a bit harder. You ate some bullshit, so your liver's working a bit harder. But your brain has far more complex demands on it. Like, you just come across a business problem. Like, say a client tells you, like, this solution you gave me isn't working, and blah, 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 blah. That's a complicated problem. Your brain's got to generate a new solution to this problem. It's a very complicated procedure. You may have never done that before. You may have to create a prioritized list and then execute down this list. And that means you have to A, remember everything you have to do. B, you have to effectively prioritize it. Then C, you have to complete each task in a timely manner to a standard, to a high standard, and not get distracted as you go do all those tasks. And hopefully even have a good mood while you're doing it. That's complicated. That is very complicated. It's much more complicated than anything any other organ in your body has to do. I mean, your heart, like, just boom, 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 boom. And then sometimes you're exercising, boom, 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 boom. Your brain has to, like, make all these novel connections and regulate organ function and so much stuff. And the whole body is important. I mean, your kidney function will affect your brain function. Your heart function will affect your brain function. Just an aside, I'll just share a brief anecdote. So, when I was a younger man, 13, my father had a heart attack. It was one of the scariest moments of my life. I remember getting the call. I remember the whole day incredibly vividly. I remember my father had a heart attack, and he pulled through, thank God. Thank God he pulled through. But for months leading up to his heart attack, he was depressed. He had depression. That man had never been depressed in his whole life, but leading up to his heart attack, he was depressed. After his heart attack, they put a stent in his heart, changed his diet up, stopped smoking, and no depression. Gone. The heart affects the brain. Obviously. I mean, it's a very important organ. You need it to circulate blood, and there's nerves running from your heart to your brain. There's feedback, complex feedback between all the organs in your body. And this is just one example of how, when you take care of your health, the feedback from all the organs in your body facilitates proper health, proper brain function, proper mood, all of this. But when you don't take care of your health, when your body's lacking the things it needs to function properly, when it's being poisoned by external toxins that are preventing it from functioning properly, this is going to be the first thing to suffer. And if you're a business owner, which almost all of you are, then you need this. Like, duh. Like, what makes you an effective business owner? I mean, you need a hand that you can type and shit and sign checks, but this is the know-how. This is the execution. This is everything. And this is facilitated and supported by this, the whole body. And this is where just a lot of people misunderstand things. They think that if their mentality is off, if their motivation's off, if all these things are off, then they think that they have an issue with their mindset, or they have an issue with their like lack of meditation or whatever the hell. And maybe like they're like, "Oh, I need to stop getting distracted." But why do you get distracted? Well, you get distracted because, I mean, one example is your brain's craving dopamine. Brain doesn't have enough dopamine, or maybe brain doesn't have enough acetylcholine, norepinephrine, and GABA to focus properly. Well, why doesn't it have those things? Well, because those things are made from components in your diet. And an example I like to give people is, if you don't have adequate vitamin D, did you know that your brain actually resembles the serotonin, the happy neurotransmitter, that function of your brain looks like a meth addict on an MRI scan. Yeah, if you're vitamin D deficient, just one vitamin, your brain can't produce proper serotonin, and then what happens? Now your brain resembles a meth addict. Literally, your brain will get as dysregulated as if you were just doing meth, just by being vitamin D deficient. Do you think you're going to be an effective business leader if you have the brain of a meth addict? I don't think you will be. I don't think anyone will be. I don't really see meth addicts running businesses, or at least not for long. I mean, if you're just, aside from that, but it makes the point really well. Like, this is a sensitive organ, and this needs support from nutrition, from proper lifestyle, from supporting your metabolic function, from hydration, from electrolyte balance, from all these things, diet, exercise, the whole nine yards. I have other videos on that. Go look them up if you're interested. But this is just making the point of how sensitive this is, and how contingent your success is on this, and how contingent this is on this, and how contingent all of this is on what you put into your body and what you do with it. Like, if you're not fueling your body properly, it doesn't fucking matter how much you meditate, bro. You're not going to be able to calm your brain down. Like, if I were to make you eat only bread for a month, you think it matters how much you meditate? You're going to be fucked. You're going to be fucked up. You're going to be like, I don't even want to imagine what you're going to be like if you had to only eat bread for a month. And that's just a very extreme example. Like, you become non-functional. And that's an extreme example. Like, for most people, you try to eat your vegetables, and you eat your fish, and you get your protein in, and you, like, drink your fucking green smoothie or whatever the hell you think makes you healthy. Some of that stuff is very good, but, I mean, a lot of this is, like, misinformed. Quick aside, for all y'all fuckers out there drinking green smoothies and green juice and all this stuff and thinking that that's going to make you super healthy and make you super jazzed up and everything, leafy green vegetables like kale, spinach, these raw vegetables, they can be very healthy in certain contexts, but they contain a lot of anti-nutrients. Like oxalates, like ligand, these compounds that will bond to calcium and magnesium in your body and make you piss them out. I mean, there's a lot of examples of people getting kidney stones from eating too much spinach and kale. Real shit. And if you're getting kidney stones, like if your body's so backed up, you're getting literal stones in your kidney that you got to piss out your urethra. You think that's not going to fuck this up? Like, that's literally, there's stones in your kidney. Your kidney's way less sensitive than your brain. And this is where I come in. This is where it's very nice to have an expert, to have someone who's devoted their entire life to the study of optimizing the mind and body, because you can just make a lot of errors along the way. And there's a lot of diets out there. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, go keto, oh, go vegan, oh, go carnivore, oh, like do paleo, do whatever the hell. You'll experience benefits from a lot of these things, but it really, there's a world of difference between just trying to haphazardly cut some stuff out versus my approach. I'll tell you a little bit about my approach right now, just for everyone who's interested. So my approach, and the reason that this is the approach to take if you want to invest in yourself to succeed in business, is because there's no other approach out there that factors in your unique metabolism. There's no other approach that out there that is that looks holistically at everything you're consuming to get rid of toxins and get rid of many toxic factors that are fucking up your hormones, fucking up your brain function, fucking up your digestion, fucking up your metabolism. Looks at electrolyte balance. It looks at, let's say you take Adderall or caffeine or something to try to focus. That looks at how you can use nutrition to support those substances or even get similar focus effects without even using those substances, which a lot of people like to do. I mean, I have clients who just drop coffee their first week of coaching with me because they're like, I don't fucking need it anymore. I'm like, great, man. If you want to keep drinking your coffee, I mean, there are ways to drink your coffee so it's more effective, so that your coffee doesn't just deplete you of nutrients. It's another thing most people don't know. Coffee will just deplete you of nutrients if you're not supplementing properly, if you're not using nutrition properly to replenish your body's stores of nutrients. And and integrating exercise into all of this. Like, how do you integrate exercise into a holistic performance program? Well, that's what I do. I incorporate exercise, incorporate proper supplementation, I incorporate elimination diets to make sure that we're getting rid of every single thing that could be fucking you up. I incorporate metabolic testing to make sure your metabolism is constantly on an ongoing basis, to make sure your metabolism is functioning the way it should be, make sure you're eating according to your metabolism. And I bring a whole wealth of experience in coaching people from the dysfunctional ways that they're living now to the hyper functional ways that they could be living, and the ways that, and to really educate people on how their body performs best. This is the basics to levels that people have never really thought of. Like, this is a beautiful map through the minefield that is health and fitness, but I digress. I don't want to spend all this time talking about me and my qualifications and why everyone should go with my coaching program, even though that's what I believe. I believe every single person out there will benefit more from working with me than from any other single activity that you could possibly engage in. You'll benefit more in your life, your sex life. I mean, because your hormones are going to be optimized. So that's, need I say more? Your athletic life, like, your body's going to get nice and lean and shredded. You're going to build some muscle. You're going to feel great. You're going to look great. You're going to have great posture. You're going to feel more confident. You're going to feel more mental clarity. You're going to feel more clarity about what the hell you should even eat to keep fueling this high performance state. And you're going to know how you can use diets like a ketogenic diet, how you can use higher carb diets, how you can use plant-based diets, how you can use all of these diets as tools in your toolbox to facilitate proper health. And this just really comes from my lifetime of exploring all these topics, from doing over 10 years of research on this, from ongoing research, from ongoing work I do with clients. But really, I'm going to wrap this video up now. I would like to just wrap this up on the note of focus on yourself. Sharpen the axe for 6 hours. What is the axe? The axe is you. What are you? You're first and foremost a biological being. Surprise, surprise. And your biology rests entirely on your nutrition, your lifestyle, and your daily habits, and your hydration, your water intake, all of these things. So you can do all the mindset work you want. You can work your ass off on business. You can drink all the coffee you want. But until you really get your diet, nutrition, lifestyle, supplementation, drug consumption, all of these things, until you bring them all, I say drug consumption, I mean like caffeine, Adderall, like all drugs. All drugs are in one category for me, essentially, because they're all external things that have some effect on the body, either positive or negative in various contexts, and that needs to be compensated for in various ways. But until you bring all of these things into balance, then you're going to be fighting an uphill battle. You'll never feel as energetic as you want to feel. You will never wake up happy and motivated. You will never have the clear, calm, confident, cool, collected mentality that you want to have for your business. You're going to feel frantic. Why are you going to feel frantic? Because you feel frantic doing anything if you're eating like shit. Especially business, though. Especially something as multifaceted and dynamic and complex as a ever-changing business landscape. You need this to be on top of its game. And if it's not, if you're operating at 50 to 60%, sometimes even 30 to 40% biochemically, neurologically, then you are going to be stressed. You are going to be tired. You're going to feel overworked. You're going to feel like this thing is not fun. And maybe you'll succeed a bit. You'll make a little bit of money, but it's just not. Who wants to chop down a tree with a dull axe? And I'll leave you with that. Have a great day, beautiful people. Mwah.